Hi, my name is Jamal Smichael, and the topic of my video presentation is on dissection of a hibiscus flower. I'll be discussing the location, structure, and function for each part of the flower, as discussed in lecture chapter 22, which by the way is on page 668 if you want to go check that out. Alright, so let's begin. I'll actually start the opposite way, and I will do the actual functions and the structures last, because they're in a separate video. So in the meantime, we can talk about flowering plants and how they can be pollinated by the winds or animals. Alright, so flowering plants can be pollinated by winds or animals. For flowers, they can use winds such as dandelions. More energy is used to produce pollen grains. Other flowers that use insects, animals, and birds, they are like the vehicle for pollination. And those creatures such as hummingbirds or bees and butterflies, they grow from flower to flower. They go from flower to flower, and they place pollen in each of those flowers because they get attached to them, and then they are detached to their new destination. Alright. Fertilization, the production of the male gametophytes. I apologize if I mess up any of these words. Alright. So pollen grains are produced by anthers, the male gametophytes of seed plants. Cells use meiosis to divide into 4 male spores, then use mitosis to produce 2 haploid cells. 2 haploid cells together with a sturdy wall for protection forms a single pollen grain. Female gametophytes. One female gametophyte can form in each ovule of a flower's ovary. Just like the male gametophyte, a total of 4 spores, being a female at the case, are produced through meiosis. However, a lot of flowers tend to lose 3 spores, leaving 1 spore that encounters mitosis 3 times, making a total of 8 nuclei along with the female spore. So backtracking, 7 cells equals 1 female gametophyte. And then that 1 female gametophyte divides by meiosis to make 4 spores. But out of the 4 spores, only 1 tends to survive in most flowers. And that 1 spore uses mitosis 3 times, and that together makes 8 nuclei. So that's very, very interesting. Then we go to double fertilization. So basically, for double fertilization, I can say that 1 sperm fertilizes the egg, and then it develops into an embryo, and then the other sperm, it unites with the polar nuclei to form the endosperm. Now, if you don't know what an endosperm is, the endosperm basically it nourishes the developing plant embryo inside the seed coat, and then the outer layer of the ovule becomes a protective seed. So basically, double fertilization is like the process of 1 sperm fertilizing an egg, and the other forms a triploid cell. And what makes like the flowering plant have an advantage over cone-bearing plants when it comes to double fertilization is that with the flowering plant, that if the egg doesn't tend to fertilize, then it doesn't bother make its food supply for that, which is in the it's encountered with the endosperm, the seed coat, and the embryo. But then with the cone-bearing plants, they make the food supply before the egg is fertilized. So if the egg never gets fertilized, then that's just like a waste of a food supply, which sucks for the cones. So that's why alright, just see. So that is for the production. And then seeds and fruits. Seeds and fruits, the ovule becomes a seed which contains an embryo and a nutritious endosperm enclosed by the protective seed coat. Using the nutrients produced by the endosperm, the embryos develop 1 or 2 cotyledons. They depend on whether the seed comes from a monocot or a dicot. And then while the seed develops, the surrounding ovaries, they grow into a fruit. And many animals and us humans, we tend to eat the fruit, and then we scatter the seeds, which encourage the seeds to sprout and make plenty more of its kind, so that when you're when you're eating watermelon, you spit out the seeds, and then, I don't know, my mom always tells me not to swallow the seeds, or I'll have a watermelon next time. So just a quick review. A good example is the tomato plant, and this is also found in the book. It's at page 671. So you can always look forward to that. I'm not gonna read anything. I'll just go over the steps. Number 1 is the male and female gametophytes. Number 2 is pollination. Then it goes to double fertilization. Then it goes to the seed. So that's how the flowering plant life cycle works. So alright, so let's go on to the video. To make it quick, this is a review of my dissected flower that I have. It's a rose that I found in front of my garden. So we can start with the sepals. Sepals are green. They're mostly green, but they can be brightly colored, so I wouldn't be surprised if part of the sepal is produced along the petals, which are these red leaves, or not really, just petals, just call them petals. So the sepals, they're modified leaves that protect the developing flower, so while it was before blooming this green, it covered the flower, you could say. The petals, the sepals make up the petals, which are modified leaves also as well. Then we can go into the male reproductive structure of the flower, which is the stamen. And the stamen consists of the anther, which is the yellow parts. And these anthers, they create pollen, or pollen grains. And then you can get closer. There's filaments, which connect the anther to the style. The style is actually part of the female reproductive system. And it contains the stigma, which is these red spongy looking things over here. It contains the style, which connects the anther, the filaments, the stigma to the base of the flower, where it connects to the ovary. And which also the ovary right here, it's like you see this little pointy thing, and there's like a ball that's inside. Yeah, that is also part of the female reproductive system. All of these things, the stigma, the style, and the ovary, they make the carpel. Just on how the filament and the anther, they make up the stamen, which is the male reproductive system. So we have the sepal, we have the petals, we have the stamen, which contains the anthers and the filaments. We have the carpel, which contains the stigma and the style, and the ovary. So all of these, they are the structures. So yeah, good. Have a good day, guys. Alright, so that was the dissection video, and I actually saw an ant that was in the flower. So it shows that not just birds or butterflies, not just those things, but many variety of animals and insects, they benefit from these creations, especially from the color of the leaves that they help to attract animals closer to them. So yeah, I do believe that there are nectar that are found in some flowers which can attract some of these insects, or even bears. I heard bears too, like honey bears too. So with conclusion of that, thank you for watching, and I hope that you liked this video. Please tell your friends. Well, you don't have to, but yeah. Alright, this has been a very long video. It's been a very good time, and see you next time. Later.